Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's edition of Let's Talk, presented by the Visiting Nurse in Hospice for Vermont and New Hampshire. My name is Anthony Knox, and I am the Community Relations Manager for the VNH and your host as always. So today, to start off the new year, we are here with Amanda Jordan-Smith of Volunteers in Action to talk about the services that they provide within various communities in Windsor, Windsor County in particular, but Amanda will go through all of the areas momentarily. And just to be able to talk about what they do, how to access the services, why it's such a worthwhile thing to not only utilize, but also to be a part of within your community. So with that, Amanda, I'm going to turn it over to you to do your introduction.
Thank you, Anthony. And thank you all who are watching this recording or joining us today live. Much appreciated. As Anthony said, my name is Amanda Jordan-Smith. My pronouns are she, her, and I work for Mount Ascutney Hospital and Health Center as the Volunteers in Action ViA program lead. I'm local to the area. I grew up in Brownsville, Vermont, graduated from Windsor High School, and went to college in Massachusetts at Wellesley College. After college, I spent a lot of time traveling and being of service in over 23 different countries, and it really helped me broaden my perspective, develop deeper empathy, and a better understanding of the world that I live in and the circumstances that my neighbors live in. And I have been motivated to get involved, whether it was on the select board here in Windsor or through advocacy or through my work here at the hospital. I truly feel like strong communities start with neighbor helping neighbor. So I'm honored to do this work.
That's awesome. Well, and with that, so now let's dive into, the reason we're here to learn more about Volunteers in Action.
Thank you. Our mission is supporting and connecting neighbors helping neighbors. And you can see some of our local neighbors below on these pictures. We are a diverse group of people. Some are as young as high school and others well into their 80s. So wherever you are in your life, there's a place for you on our team. And I hope you consider joining as a volunteer or reaching out and having one of these kind people help you out. So our organization has been around for over a quarter of a century. It started here in Windsor with a smaller group, and it grew. And in November 2001, it became affiliated with Mount Ascutney Hospital and Health Center. And then from there, continued to grow to supporting surrounding towns in the service area and helping directly in the hospital. For 25 years, we were located in the Windsor House on Main Street, the building with the pillars across from the post office. But just this past fall, we moved down to the Windsor Connection Resource Center on 1 Railroad Ave near the Amtrak station. The reason for this move was because we wanted to support the Resource Center and the great work that's happening here, but also we wanted to be more in the community where people go when they need something or when they want to provide something. But we are very nostalgic here at ViA, and we love to think about traditions and ways to bring forward things from the past in new ways. And you can see on this picture of some of the founders doing a Valentine's Day raffle. And then on the other side, myself and our program assistant, Suzanne Enser, doing a Valentine's Day raffle last February. And even farther on to the side, you'll see a Valentine's Day card made by a student at the Upper Valley Waldorf School. And we partner with young folks often to help with rural isolation and support, particularly for those we serve with Meals on Wheels. So we really try to Love your neighbor and share kindness wherever we can.
That's awesome. So Amanda, one quick question. So in the slide before, you were talking about in 2001, you became affiliated with Mount Ascutney Hospital. I mean, obviously you weren't around in 2001. I'm assuming not. But can you talk a little bit about how that partnership kind of came to be?
I can speak to it some. As you said, I was not in this position at that time. I was still in school here in Windsor. But the mission of both organizations aligns so well. And the commitment to community health and to service was such that bringing ViA on board not only helped our organization be more sustainable, it helped achieve the goals of Mount Ascutney Hospital. And that's how we became part of the community health department, not just our own entity. And we've been able to get support through occupational health services and guidance and direction from the hospital. And they've been able to get support through our volunteers, helping whether in the rehab, in the gift shop, driving people to appointments and so forth. So it was just, as they said on the website, just a really good fit. And we're really happy to be a part of Mount Ascutney Hospital and Health Center.
Awesome.
Thank you. We serve a large area, so not only here in Windsor, but also in Heartland, West Windsor, Reading, Wethersfield, and then Cornish and Plainfield across the river in New Hampshire. So anyone who is residing in those towns is welcome to call us, and we will see what we can do to support you and your needs. And on this page, you can see one of our volunteers that's helping with Meals on Wheels. She's actually from Heartland, but she delivers to Wethersfield. And then to the other side, you see our ViA volunteers helping pass out Veggie Van Go, which we do once a month here in Windsor, the second Tuesday. And that's actually near where we are now located. It's just across the tracks in the Goodyear parking lot. So you'll see our ViA volunteers out there with a smile, helping our neighbors with food security and partnering with the Vermont Food Bank.
Awesome.
Other services we provide, and a reminder that all of the services we provide are at no cost. We'll never ask you to pay anything. You are more than welcome to donate to the program, but it's not a requirement. We offer transportation to the grocery store, to a doctor's appointment, to the pharmacy, to visit a family member. We can have one of our volunteers call you or come to your home for a friendly visit. We can just check in over the phone. We can help with minor home repair. The asterisk here is that we might be able to help you put up a shelf, but not electrical. We're not doing plumbing. We can't do any big projects, but we can help with little things. We can replace a light bulb. And this really helps with aging in place, with dignity, with safety, and we can help bridge that gap. When perhaps you have low or limited income, or you don't have friends or family in the area, someone to just call for a helping hand, we're there for you. And we want you to feel a sense of belonging and safety and welcome in the community. We also offer shopping assistance, so we can help you in the store as well. We've had folks that felt a little unsteady on their feet or may need help reaching things. We can find a volunteer to help you. We also deliver and bag Meals on Wheels. We do read alouds. We have a knitting group, walking companions, snow shoveling limited. We'll do walkways and stairs, make sure you can get in and out of your home or emergency services can, as well as yard work similar. And we also refer you to other community resources. So if we can't help you, we will work with you to find somebody who can. So always give us a call. We're happy to be of service or connect you with a warm handoff to the next service.
And so my only question as it relates to the services being provided, are there certain limits as far as how much it could be utilized in a weekly, monthly type of setting, things like that? I'm thinking more especially around like transportation and things like that. Do you try to limit it, or do you have no limits as it relates to those kind of things?
Thank you for asking that question. We have to have some kind of boundaries because we are a volunteer service. We cannot guarantee the transportation because these are not employees, they're volunteers. So weather might happen, someone might call sick, there are reasons, or we can't find a volunteer who's available. Very rarely. We very often help people who call, but we do refer people to the movers or Tri-Valley Transit for more regular appointments. If this is an ongoing need that's going to be on a weekly basis, it may be more appropriate to look into E&D rides, elderly and disabled rides through the movers or other services. And while we're talking about public transportation, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Micro Moo, which just opened yesterday in Windsor. This is an Uber-like service that VIA has worked with the mover and VTrans to roll out here in Windsor. And it's free and on demand. You can call a number or download the app, and this will help you get to anywhere within the town of Windsor boundaries and Exit 9 Park and Ride in Heartland. So this is another tool in the toolkit and an important one.
Awesome.
But yes, we do try to support people however we can, but we also refer to our partners in the community if it is a more appropriate fit.
Perfect. Okay. Excellent.
Thank you, Anthony. And just a little bit more about who we are. So volunteers are some of the kindest people that I have met since living here. And they really help people, as I mentioned, maintain their dignity and help to bolster that sense of community where you know your neighbors, where you know that if you call, someone will help, where you don't have to have stigma or shame when it comes to extending out your hand or offering it. And there are so many people who want to help but don't know how. And we are an avenue for you to know how and when it's appropriate to do so. And we're honored to play that role. Also, many of our volunteers are older or retired, and they may volunteer for 10, 15 years and then transition to receiving services. So it's a beautiful cycle of giving and then receiving, and a way of really coming together to strengthen our community.
Awesome.
And there are other benefits to volunteering. Decreasing your risk of depression, giving you a sense of purpose, teaching skills. It can help you stay physically and mentally active, reduce your stress, help you build relationships, and there's even evidence it can help you live longer. And our knitters are here in the photos, and they bring such joy to their gatherings on the first and third Tuesdays of the month here at the Windsor Connection Resource Center. I've often heard from them that it's not only meaningful for the garments and items that they knit, but also for the relationships that they're building. Sometimes they just want the local gossip, and sometimes they might not have seen people for a few days. And it's a way of, again, combating that rural isolation, bringing people together for a positive cause. And much of what they knit goes to Mount Ascutney Hospital or the Resource Center here and is given away at no cost, as well as given to Molly's Place, David's House, and the intensive care nursery up at Dartmouth Hitchcock. So these folks are truly appreciated, and some of our knitters knit at home. So they don't all go to the meetings, but sometimes we'll bring them yarn or pick up their items and they can still contribute. And we also had one of our knitting volunteers who had a serious health concern and was not able to use one of her arms. And she felt like she couldn't knit anymore. And we were able to purchase a knitting machine that had a hand crank so she could use one hand and cast on and then crank and still create and still bond. And we're so glad to be able to provide that.
That's awesome.
And I'm not going to read all the quotes in this presentation, but I will read this one because I think it encapsulates a lot of what we do and a lot of how folks that we help feel. So thank you for bearing with me. And I just would love to read Margaret's words. She's one of our neighbors here in Windsor. There just aren't words to say it. When you're this age and by yourself, your group, Volunteers in Action, was what gave me the energy and the strength and the mental desire to fight physically. To be able to get out inspired me to keep going. There are no words to say how much I appreciate that. I was used to being independent and to have someone to help me gain it back. What you all are doing is just phenomenal. Such a gift to the community and the areas you serve. It can be hard to remember to thank people, but you have been such a help to me. The entire organization has. You are a blessing. You honestly saved my life. What you're doing is fantastic. I don't know what I would have done without you. I talk to my family in other parts of the country, and they don't have a service like this. It's a gift from God. I don't know how often you hear it, but when the days are long, please remember all the good you do. There are not enough words to thank you. And I really feel like that's extended not only to our team here in the ViA office, but to all our volunteers. And the gratitude really goes both ways. And here are just a few more quotes. Again, really emphasizing the gratitude and the difference that even one trip can make in someone's life. So volunteering with ViA doesn't mean that you volunteer every day or even every week, but here and there can truly make a difference for someone.
And so one quick question, and I'm also trying to prolong this slide so people have a chance to read those quotes as we're going through. But so from the perspective, and you may talk about this a little bit later, but roughly how many volunteers do you guys currently have for ViA, and and kind of what seems to be kind of a regular quote unquote schedule for people who are volunteers with the organization?
Absolutely. Well, you anticipated well. I am going to switch the screen and just say that about our volunteers. We have over 130 active volunteers. This will fluctuate, especially with the season. We have some snowbirds, and there are challenges given the pandemic. So we see ebbs and flows, but that's about what we average. And we have helped them stay as safe as possible and involved locally throughout all of this. There were times when we had to limit certain services, but we did continue to provide Meals on Wheels, and we have opened up as safely as we can, and we continue to do so. We have folks, as I mentioned, that are retired or later in their lives, and it's a way to connect with old friends or neighbors. And we have youth that are interested in getting volunteer hours. Call us. Or they're interested in making a difference. And it's really wonderful to see, and I feel almost anyone can benefit from volunteering. And over here, you'll see a picture of one of our volunteers on his e-bike, and one of them presenting at the Community Health and Wellness Fair. And then below, you'll see me with two of our volunteers celebrating 50 years of Meals on Wheels this past March.
Awesome.
And here are a couple quotes from our volunteers. I'll try to keep this slide up a little bit so people can see it. But this is some of the feedback we've received from people who volunteer with us. And I am very proud to say that we have happy volunteers and people that will drive in the snow and people that will come in early to bag meals for their neighbors, and whatever we can do to celebrate them, I want to do. And that's why in this next slide, I'm going to go in a little bit about volunteer recognition, because we cannot thank these people enough. And some of the ways we help was, each time a ViA team member volunteers, they're entered into a monthly raffle, and the prizes are supplied by local businesses or made by staff and volunteers. And we also have a monthly e-newsletter that goes out, and it spotlights volunteers. It has community events and resources, updates from the hospital. And many people find it very useful. And we also provide occupational health support. So we provide masks and other PPE when appropriate. We offer support with vaccination, and we're there to help people through illnesses if that does arise, to make sure that they're safe to volunteer again, if appropriate.
Awesome.
And that, yeah, I did skip over one slide. I'm sorry about that. I don't want to skip Luna. Luna is a standard poodle who's also a therapy animal, and her guardian is Barbara from West Windsor, and the two of them are beloved at the rehab, and our pet therapy program had to be on pause through the pandemic, but we're hoping in the spring to open it up, at least outside. And I know folks will be excited to see Luna and others. And this is just another way you can connect and involve your pets and involve your family. We love it when families volunteer together, whether they're, human family or otherwise. And so it's just, it can be really moving. And this is one of the ways we've had direct connection with patients at Mount Ascutney Hospital.
And have there been more pups than Luna that have kind of come and gone within the program?
There was a series of pets that have come and given their love and support to patients. But I started in June 2021. And so the program was on hold when I began. So I'm really excited to meet them as well. I met Luna because her guardian is also a Meals on Wheels delivery driver. So I got to meet Luna that way.
Nice.
So if you're interested in volunteering with ViA or receiving services, this would be a good screenshot to grab, because it has our phone number, 802-674-5971. It has our email, VIA@mahhc.org, our physical address down near the Amtrak station, and our mailing address, where you can also send donations or letters to us, P.O. Box 707 here in Windsor. And that's a picture of me and Suzanne at the Community Health and Wellness Fair this past August, where we recruited new volunteers and talked about our services. And if you're interested in what the onboarding process would look like, it's quite easy and quick. You let us know that you're interested, and we'll discuss what it is that you'd like to do and what skills you may have. We'll have you fill out some paperwork, and you can either email or mail it back to us. And then we'll have you set up a time to meet with our occupational health team, and we'll assist you with that, to go over a vaccination review. All of our volunteers are vaccinated for COVID and the flu seasonally. And then we'll bring you in to meet you and get you scheduled to volunteer. So it is not arduous. It is relatively easy, and accommodations are always available to support you. And I'm very moved by quotes. And this quote by Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. really speaks to the work that we do here, and I hope speaks to those listening who are considering volunteering. And it's that everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You don't have to know the second theory of thermodynamics and physics to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. And speaking of donations from earlier, you can also take a screenshot here if you'd like. This QR code will take you to our secure server for donating at our hospital website /donate. And you can also, as I mentioned, mail us a check or stop by the office. So any amount is welcome and appreciated. And I will thank you in advance for supporting our organization and the work that we do in the community. And then I just thank you for your time and ask if there are any questions.
Well, Amanda, that was a great presentation. A lot of really great information about ViA and everything like that. I guess the only question that I have, while if anybody else who's watching this live has any questions. So, you mentioned the 130, roughly 130 volunteers that you guys have. Has there been one volunteer who's been there for, the longest? And you don't have to mention any names in case they don't want to be like called out in the middle of a presentation or anything like that. But I guess what's the longest tenure volunteer that you guys have on your team?
We've had folks that started with the founders. So we have people who have been here for 26 years helping with Volunteers in Action. And we did just get a new volunteer last week. So it spans the whole time our organization has been around. And there's so much I continue to learn from those folks that have been here since the beginning. And it's very inspiring. But they continue to say that with such a gracious heart that they also receive something from it. They enjoy getting to know people, hearing about their lives, knowing that they made their lives a little easier.
That's so cool. And I mean, that's amazing that from the founding days, there are people who are still volunteering within the program. I mean, that's just unheard of. So that's that. And I think that's a testament for the area in which you guys serve and are located, is just an amazing area, and a lot of people who just want to be able to get out there and support and do just a little bit or a lot of it in a lot of situations and things like that. And I guess before we part, is there anything else that you'd like to say about ViA, your experience, in the, almost 2 years that you've been a part of ViA, anything else that people should know or that you just want people to know?
Sure. There are a lot of ways that you can volunteer, and they don't all involve face-to-face direct contact. Some folks are still very uncomfortable given COVID and flu and other illnesses where they're not quite ready to have somebody in their car with them. But maybe they'd be willing to go to the Haven and do a pickup and drop it off at someone's home. Or maybe they can go pick up that person's Christmas tree and bring it to them because that way they can have a Christmas tree this year. Or maybe they're willing to call someone on the phone. Or there's just numerous ways. We just had someone in the snow with homemade ramps helping move someone's electric wheelchair from Windsor to Claremont. that's a one-off. That's not something we do all the time, but that's the kind of commitment we have. We have folks that want to help. And I just don't want anyone to be discouraged thinking that, well, I'm not going to be able to deliver Meals on Wheels 5 days a week, or I'm not going to be able to drive to Dartmouth Hitchcock. There are a lot of things you can do right here in your community or at home, whether it's knitting, reading aloud over the phone, or there are ways you can support different populations that you might want to support. We have helped to deliver meals to students in the summer or helped with the dental clinic at the school. We've helped with blood drives, we've helped with warming shelters. We're often here to support people who are seeking recovery services or job access. And honestly, the need is great, but so are the folks providing the services. And we would welcome anyone who'd like to join our team with open arms and find a way for them to move forward. And we do require a background check, but we also want to work on an individual basis to support people building and rebuilding and gaining job skills. And we want to work with each person on an individual basis and open as many doors as we can. So please reach out. We'd love to hear how we can help you or how we can help you help someone.
That's awesome. Yeah, the wheelchair transportation thing, Amanda and I are in a couple other meetings, that we're a part of, and yeah, that was a big one. That was trying to coordinate all of that, but never a challenge that people aren't willing to take on and try to figure out the best solution. So and just to echo what Amanda's saying, I mean, again, there are so many different ways to be able to donate time to be able to help people and things within your comfort level, within your scope of practice and things like that. And Amanda and her team are the ones to contact and try to figure out, because again, you never know. There may be some completely off the wall type of situation that you're like, that sounds fun, let me help out with that kind of thing. So and again, everybody at ViA are great to work with and are people that you'll enjoy helping the individuals within the communities that they serve. And who knows, I mean, depending on volunteers coming in, you might be able to start serving a bigger area. So but all in good time. So and so I am not seeing any questions from our viewers going live. So Amanda, again, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk about Volunteers in Action and just being able to talk about the great organization that you're a part of and all of the great work that it's doing.
Thank you so much, Anthony. And thank you to everyone who stayed with us and learned about Volunteers in Action. I hope to hear from you.
And Let's Talk will be back next month. And so just be on the lookout for the announcements of the topic and the organization we're going to be talking to. And we'll see you all in February.